Cheers.
Hello, guys. This is Gosa, and this is
I'm Suzie.
welcome.
Thank
And
you.
this is her very first YouTube video, so we just immediately decided to record. We are here in Turkey, Istanbul. This is my house.
Thank you for
I'm
having
so
me.
happy. I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
me too.
Welcome.
Thanks.
And we just decided to record this video. I was talking to her yesterday. I was like, let's share your experiences about your traveling. It was like a month, kind of
Month and a half, yeah.
Yeah, her travels in Turkey. So I was like, let's share it with people. Why not? Because like recently I was working on my YouTube channel, and so I was like in the process of recording and everything, and I was like, why you are not sharing that? Why you are not starting your
Exactly.
channel? So let's introduce ourselves
Yeah,
first.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Gosa. I live in Turkey, Istanbul. Originally, I'm from Iran. I'm doctor here in Turkey. I'm working as a aesthetic doctor, medical and business consultant at the same time. And
Amazing.
yeah, we just like make
A
like
month
be friends a
ago,
month ago.
we
Yeah,
met.
we just met,
A
but like
mutual friend.
exactly. And we just get so connected easily, and like we
Yeah, we
shared a
hit it
lot.
off.
Yeah, yeah. And like I'm so happy and I'm so grateful for that. And I
Likewise.
wish you all the best in the new
Thanks.
pathway that you are taking and you're starting.
Uh-huh.
So let's introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
and I'm Suzie. I'm from the US, Wisconsin originally, and I was an anthropology professor. And then I moved to Mexico to learn our indigenous language, which my great grandmother spoke. Yeah, and I had been coming to Turkey for years.
Mm.
And the reason I became interested in this part of the world to begin with was because I was in the military, I served in Iraq, and there was this misperception about people here. And so I studied Middle Eastern history and the religions. And it was really coming here, though, and meeting people that I realized, yeah, the stuff that you hear and see, or even when you're studying, you don't know what, to make of things. A lot of it's just
This
not
is
true.
your third time being in Turkey?
This is like my 8th time in Turkey.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and she can speak Turkish very better than me. And I live here, imagine.
But you understand some Turkish.
Ah, no, biraz biliyorum.
Yeah, so I had originally came here. The first time was 10 years ago, 2014. Yeah, I was in grad school in London, and things have really changed since then, especially in Istanbul. So I wanted to share about that.
Yeah, of course.
So the reason I came this time was because a friend of mine got married. I went to the wedding here in Istanbul.
Your friend is from US or Turkish?
Yeah, no, she's American, and her husband now is Turkish, and they met here.
How is she? Is she happy?
She's good. Yeah, he's a good guy.
How did they met?
They met through mutual friends. They would see each other at parties, and yeah, I guess he asked her out, and she was kind of surprised. And then they've been together for.
She came here for vacation?
No, she came here to make a documentary actually about refugees, and that's how I met her, because I was doing projects with Syrian refugees here in Turkey. Yeah, so that's intense and very difficult. So her documentary was never made. My projects have now ceased. Yeah, and then now she's a English preschool teacher.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I wish all the best for her.
Definitely. Yeah.
How was the communication, by the way? Did she learn Turkish
Oh no,
or the husband?
He speaks English. Yeah, so he speaks English very well.
Rarely found. Okay, so
yeah, and for us that's
because like you may not know, people in Turkey doesn't speak so much English, so it's very hard to find someone like to communicate in this level to get married. So and that's why I was surprised.
Absolutely, and I do think that that's crucial. I've had a couple Turkish boyfriends. One of them spoke English really well, and one of them didn't speak any English
at all.
Yeah.
Like you were talking through Google Translate?
No, just with my broken Turkish. And yeah, if I didn't understand something, I would have to, translate his messages or whatever. So I've learned.
We should dive into your dating experiences as well. I think people like that.
For another time, maybe. Yeah.
And guys, if you have any experiences on dating Middle East people,
even just language and cultural barriers, because my mom's
Mhm.
from Mexico,
Mhm.
and so she was functioning in a different language that she didn't master English when she met my dad.
Mm.
But like they fell in love and they got married and they had
Aw.
us. Yeah, so I thought, okay, Turkish
How many
guy.
brother and sister you
I have
have?
a brother, older brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was under this impression that those things are possible, but it's a lot trickier
Yes,
than,
it's
yeah,
hard, you know.
especially
Now,
and when it's the other
maybe
way.
in the past it might, but like now with all the dating apps, like I don't
It's
know,
hard out here. It's
it's
tricky.
hard.
Uh-huh.
I think there is a huge language barrier, and like it will make the communication even harder in the relationship.
Yes.
So I'm not a big fan if someone cannot speak like fluently either English or in my like mother language.
Right.
I will not date.
Right. That's a good rule of thumb,
Yeah.
I think, because I mean, you always have misunderstandings in relationships
Hmm.
occasionally or
Yeah.
often anyway. So you
Okay.
don't want language to trip you up more.
Okay. So where do you want to start? Like from the beginning?
So yeah, with traveling in general, I love it because you get to learn about people. And then in this trip in Turkey, I got to go to some places I hadn't been yet,
Mm-hmm.
with different groups of people. So I kind of wanted to explore that, share that. And there is a language dimension to that, because before I could speak Turkish at the level I can now, I probably wouldn't have been able to go to those places with the same experience, the same kind of
Mm.
like learning
Mm.
ability from talking to people.
Mm.
So yeah, I stayed here. Well, first I went to London on the way, before I got to Istanbul.
You should go to London.
We should. We will, because there's a huge time difference between the US and Turkey. It's like 6 to 8 hours, depending on where
Mm.
you are in the United States. So stopping over in London got me fast forwarded a little bit, adjusted to like 5 or 6 hours ahead. And then getting here, I was a little bit
Mm.
more prepared. And I'm a big like sleep.
You came directly to Istanbul?
Yeah,
The wedding
from
was in
London. The
Istanbul.
wedding was here.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a signing ceremony, like the nikah, the
I
religion,
know.
like
I know we have
yeah,
it. Yeah.
legal paperwork. They just signed it. That was quick. Took pictures, and then the like.
So how many hours flight was?
Oh, that's right. Back to that. The flight from I went from Chicago. No, I went from Atlanta to London. My dad lives in Atlanta. Hi, Dad.
Mm, hi,
And
hi, Suzie. Is that nice to meet you?
and I don't think he'll watch this, but yeah, then that was about 6 hours,
Mm.
and then from London to Turkey is pretty quick. It's just 3 or 4 hours. Is
Mm.
that right?
I'm not sure.
Price wise, to get to London, depending on where you are from the States, I usually fly to London or a big city in Europe like that, because with
Why
our
did you do that? Like this stop? There
yeah,
was a
okay.
reason or
I
something?
always do this. This is kind of my travel hack.
Ah.
As a US citizen, we can go pretty much anywhere.
Mm.
Last minute.
So it would be cheaper or?
Yeah, so I used to do it because it was way cheaper to fly into London or somewhere in Europe, and
Mm.
then to come to Turkey or wherever you're going. So I use Google Flights, and I check, and I'm pretty flexible time wise, like day that I can travel, because I work remote. So I look at what day is cheaper, and then what city is cheaper, and then it's
Okay,
uh-huh.
so like for example, if you want to come from US, the place that you come
Mm-hmm.
from, to Turkey directly, how much it will be?
Directly it can be like at least $600 to
Okay,
$800,
but
but
if
then
you do that, like this is stop, how
yeah,
much?
you could get a $200 or $300 flight to London, and then from
Mm.
London it's only a couple $100
Guys, it's a tip.
max.
It's a hack.
See,
It's a hack.
I
It
always save at
definitely
least
is.
a
So
hundred
you can have
dollars
some savings.
and then yeah, with that extra $100 you can pay for that several days in
So how
London.
many hours it will be added?
Oh, that's the only thing. It might add like an hour of flight time, but
Just 1 hour?
yeah,
It worth
usually
it.
maybe a couple.
100 for
Depending where.
1 hour is good.
I
It's
think
good,
so.
guys.
Yeah, yeah,
I will take that.
yeah. So London first, then came here. The next day was the wedding. Oh, and then the after party was on a boat down the
How was your
Bosphorus.
experience in the wedding? Was that different from like the weddings that you were in US?
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. So the US, it's usually in a church, and then afterwards you have the reception. Here it was just like in a government office where they do the signing, and then it was on a boat. So the reception in the States is usually on land, and then this
Mm.
one was on the Bosphorus Strait. So, and it was fun, about 4 hours and just like hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and they
Mm.
were dancing. I don't dance.
Why?
Just never learned,
I
never.
love
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
I'm crazy about dancing.
I realized that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Last night, right?
We listened to
Last night we have
some
so much fun with my
Iranian
people.
music last night. It was cool. It was really cool.
Did you
Yeah,
like Iranians?
I do. Trick question. Um,
Tricky.
but yeah, the guy playing guitar and hearing music in Farsi, and it was chill
I'm
vibes. It was
happy. I'm
really
happy you
cool,
had good
and that
times.
everybody was singing along and knew all the
Yeah,
lyrics
yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
We all knew the songs.
I'm gonna have to learn these lyrics for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after the wedding, I stayed in Istanbul for about almost 2 weeks.
Mm.
I stayed with a friend here. So because I have friends here, I'm a little bit, financially able to stay longer
Mm.
in places where I know
Good point.
someone,
Yeah.
or, they'll at least make me breakfast or something, right? So if you don't know anyone, Airbnb has gotten really tricky in Turkey. Not a
Mm.
good option. But then the hotels can, especially in Istanbul. So Istanbul is really expensive now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turkey wide. So 10 years ago, or even the last time I came
Oh,
here,
different. So much.
yeah, it was 20 lira to the dollar. Now it's 30. So
Mm.
I thought, oh, I have even more money. But the
Mm-mm.
prices have just gone up
No, everything
so
is just
much.
the
So I
prices are
actually,
crazy.
my purchasing power is actually less now. So it
Mm.
was a lot more expensive this time. So I stayed with my friend. I kind of recovered from the wedding and being on the
Mm.
other side of the world. And I do need time to adjust. And I do build that into my planning whenever I come, especially overseas. America is just so far from here, from
Mm.
Europe, it's like the opposite side of the world. So I do give myself like some leeway to just kind of veg for maybe a day and not make any plans, even with friends, right? Like to just okay. And Istanbul, there are some cool new developments, like along the water where the modern art museum is really nice now. There's like a new outdoor mall. Um, but in general, yeah, it's I think I don't want to say overrated. Would you say overrated about Istanbul?
I think it depends on the personality.
It's absolutely worth coming here.
Yeah.
My thing is, once you're here, go somewhere else in Turkey and not just Cappadocia. That's my message for the
I
world.
love Cappadocia.
Of course.
I've never been there. I'm waiting for the one so we could be able to go
Okay.
together because like it's so romantic. I don't want to go there alone or with a girlfriend.
Okay.
So
I I
I'm
went
waiting for
I
someone,
went hiking in
guys.
Cappadocia. Yeah, okay. I don't have the romantic experience in these places. Like I
Um,
go hike through the rocks and stuff, but I guess you could do that with a partner as well. That would be romantic. Okay,
I'm dead.
enough. But I think you should tell that with Istanbul, we're still talking about your friends who were here also for a wedding. Talk about like how people in general, it's not just me, have this
Yeah.
impression of Istanbul.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What do you think
And
we're
I agree 100%.
but from the Iranian perspective, like from a fellow Middle Easterner, like because you guys
Mm.
come here for that kind of
Yeah.
glitz and European vibes, but
So it's like our cultures are somehow close, and it's so close to Iran. We do not need visa, and like it's the first destination when we want to go abroad.
yeah, a lot
So
of Middle
yeah,
Easterners.
so we like it, but there are some differences. When what do you mean by like overrated?
Well,
Yeah.
I think before it lived up to the hype. I felt like when I first came to Istanbul, I was like, wow, and overall, a good experience. I
Mm.
feel like now when you come to Istanbul for the first time, you have that wow, but it's so crowded and people are so stressed and prices are so high that
Mm.
and people are
Yeah, I
trying to
agree. I agree.
survive. There wasn't that survival mode before.
Yeah, now people are really in survival because of like a financial situation. Then the economy here just got really bad these days.
Yes.
So that's why, yes, I agree with the survival mode. And like when they saw foreigners, like unfortunately, they just want to get your money and they don't care about like tourists or like being so friendly with people, being like normal human being.
Correct. Or it's a shame because it's so
Mm,
different from their authentic culture.
exactly,
They used to
exactly.
be so like guest foreigner friendly. Like
Mm.
for example, when I would come here 10 years ago, like old ladies on the street would be like "Günaydın kızım," like "good morning, my girl," and they would everybody would say, "Oh, you're foreign. Where are you from? Do you like Turkey? Welcome." Now I don't get that
No, and they do not
almost at
like
all. They say
yabancı.
yes, that I'm foreign, and it's like, oh, where are you from?
Mm.
Iraq or what? And it's like, even if I was from Iraq, why aren't you welcoming me? Why, where is this? How do you like Turkey? Isn't it great? Type of questions that they had before. Now the
Yeah,
question is
I
like
agree. I
negative.
agree.
Yeah. So that was the biggest shift in people's
Mm.
behavior that I noticed. And your friends were talking about they're trying to like capitalize on it, that they'll try to like, so if you don't speak Turkish, which would be I think most people who would have access to this in English, they might try to scam you. And even
Exactly.
even me, like I didn't know about how
Yeah.
much the prices had changed. The first taxi I took from my friend's place to the nikah, to the wedding, was 200 lira. To go back to that same place, so the same distance, there was not more traffic or anything. It was only 100 lira. So they doubled the price
Yeah, guys, be
just
careful
randomly.
so much about the taxis and like the location and everything.
Taxi, make sure the meter is on, and go ahead and have the navigation pulled up on your phone so you
Yeah.
know that they're not
Yeah,
going
exactly.
out of the way
Yeah, be careful about that.
to scam you. The tipping culture is also very different. I always tip because in America we always,
Mm.
I mean it's rude not to, and especially like where I'm from in America or anywhere,
Mm.
we are polite. Like we can't be rude. It's shameful for us.
Is it okay if I smoke vape on your video?
Please, yeah, yes, smoke whatever you want. And
Guys, as a doctor, I'm saying it's not good, but at the same time, my body needs nicotine, so
you're a doctor.
I am, and you cannot believe like
I always forget that.
I just get familiar with this stuff like vape or cigarettes and everything in the hospital with my
Oh
coworkers.
my gosh.
Yes, it's a very bad environment. Don't send your kids to study medicine.
Oh my gosh. I agree. I would not, yeah, promote studying medicine.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
Okay,
I forgot what we were
continue.
talking about.
Your tipping
Oh
culture.
yeah. So I would say in Turkey you could go ahead and not tip anymore because they're probably accruing more than what you're actually purchasing, like the market price as a foreigner.
Mm.
So it's like a built-in tip. I feel like they're adding now.
And they're not doing that like local people. I never saw like they tip, do
No, the
they?
culture is not a
Yeah,
tipping
it's
culture,
not.
and
Yeah,
if
even in my country.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that right, that was a big difference in Mexico too.
So
So when
you do not need
don't
to
tip at all.
tip. It's okay.
If you want
They
to
will
tip,
charge you in anyway.
yes. If you want to tip your waiter if the prices are right on the bill and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
service was really good.
yeah.
But like for the taxi driver or whoever else, you don't have to tip. Yeah, so that was my experience in Istanbul.
So where did you visit? Must visited places. Mention that.
In Istanbul. Oh my gosh, I stayed in Fatih, so on the side with all of the historical tourist sites like the mosques and the underground cistern and Hagia Sophia. I didn't go to any of those
You
places
didn't?
because I've already been
What
there.
about the last times?
The last times, okay, so I've gone to every tourist site for the most part, the big ones in this city. And there's a few that I've been to more than once, and I'm glad I went more than once, that I'm okay with. Was Hagia Sophia, definitely. And I would go again because now it's different. Now it's a mosque. And when I
Mm.
came before, the two times that I had visited Hagia Sophia, or the Hagia Sophia in English, um, it was not a mosque, so I could see what the difference is there. So you would have to cover going in, women.
They will
Um,
give you, right?
I think your friend said that she had to pay though.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
oh, that's another pointer. Okay, so the Hagia Sophia and then the cistern, Basilica cistern. It's like this underground water on the bottom, like old churchy type of place.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool, like dungeony, but not dungeon, natural dungeony. You're like in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the coolest tourist
Mm-hmm.
things in Istanbul, in my opinion. I like the bridges. Galata Tower is beautiful,
Amazing.
but
I love
going up
that.
to the top, I didn't feel like was worth it.
I've never go to the
Yeah,
top.
you
Should you
don't have to.
pay?
You have to pay, and it was
How much is
expensive back
that?
then. Back then, I paid probably $20. So now it's
Mm.
probably
Yeah, it's more now.
uh huh.
I've never won.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Mm.
With that being said, there is good, obviously great food in Istanbul. The food is better in
Food
other
amazing.
places, though. So I'll
But
talk
you're
about.
vegetarian and
Yeah. Yes.
share that experience with the
Yes.
vegetarian friends that want to come.
It's tricky, and I think if you're vegetarian, you would at least have to learn in Turkish some stuff in order to know that your food is vegetarian. Because, for example, I would always get lentil soup when I would go out with my friends, which is the
It's very good.
so delicious, probably the best like
What is the word
everyday
for
food
lentil
here.
soup?
Mercimek çorbası.
I cannot say.
Mercimek çorbası. And I would get that every time I would go to this restaurant with my friends. And the guy asked the waiter, she doesn't want anything else. And my friend said, no, because she's vegetarian. And he said, that's not vegetarian. That has the chicken stock in it or chicken broth. So I from now on do ask like, is this vegetarian or do you put the chicken broth in the soups or?
Mm.
But I think just knowing the basics, vegetarian or without meat, uh, and how to form a question and to say thank you. I feel like when people go somewhere and don't even know how to say thank you in the language or don't even try,
What is thank you in
there's a
Turkish?
few different ways. Teşekkür ederim is a little bit harder, so you can at least say sağ.
Salt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, okay. Um, so just be careful if you're, but there are a lot of really good traditional foods that are vegetarian
Yeah.
in Turkey. My favorite is like green beans, taze fasulye. So
I've never had that.
really, it's a tomato stewed green beans, and I like it with rice or with a bulgur pilav, and with
Ah, I understand what you're saying
yeah,
now.
yeah, and with yogurt. They eat a lot of yogurt in Turkey, and
Mm,
if you ask for yogurt, they give you like a whole
really?
carton of yogurt. Yeah. And I'm Mexican, so I like spicy. So pul biber is the hot pepper flakes that you can put on top of your food. Yeah, the advice of what not to do, I would say it's really hot and humid in Istanbul. I'm always here in the summer, but even where I went after Istanbul was even hotter. So like, and there's not air conditioning in a lot of places,
Yeah.
or the air conditioning is not up to U.S. level of environmentally
Yeah.
unfriendly. So yeah, it's a little or very uncomfortable in
Mm.
the summer. I was used to it because I was coming from Mexico, where there's also not a lot of
I think like in September it's better to visit,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or
and
October.
prices start to go down in the
Mm.
off season. So if you're looking for a budget friendly, more comfortable because you're not sweating as much time, it would not be during the summer. And you can look at the prices are different. You can look at price differences for the hotels. My app shows it automatically. So
Mm.
something that if you want to come and save money and be able to see more places, as I recommend, then that's
Mm.
something to look for.
Okay, so after Istanbul, where did you go?
Yes. Now it's the good stuff. So after Istanbul, I went directly to a town in southeast Turkey. This is in the Kurdish dominated area, and Kurds live in predominantly in four different countries. In your country, in Turkey, in Syria, and Iraq. There are some Kurds also in Armenia. So this is in the Kurdish part of Turkey. So it's bordering Syria. Where I stayed, I could actually see Syria in the
You're her.
distance. Oh,
Like, not to
oh, that's why
interfere,
you're
yeah.
looking at. Okay. Yeah, so it's a town called Mardin. Mardin is my new
How did you go there? By
by
bus?
plane.
By
No,
plane.
so it's the op. So here's Istanbul, here's Mardin. It's the
Mm.
opposite side
How much was
as far
the
as you can
flight
get.
ticket
My
price?
flight might have been $50, probably
$50.
40.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Maybe less. I think probably 40, 30 something, but then if there was whatever other.
Okay.
Yeah. So flying anywhere in Turkey is cheap, and it's more of a bus culture. So if you're just going from like one beach town to like you can go to the next beach town on a bus for like $3. So I highly recommend once you're in an area to go ahead and take a bus to another town if you have the time. It's easy and it's comfortable. The buses are comfortable. It's not like buses in the U.S.
I've never been in US.
Buses in the U.S. it's like a homeless shelter,
Mm,
and yeah, it's just
I
yeah.
understand.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Same in my country.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the buses here are more like Mexico, where they're frequently used, they're comfortable, they're air conditioned, and very affordable.
Mm.
Okay, so I flew to Mardin for very cheap, very quick flight too. It was only a couple hours, and the town is beautiful. So there's a new Mardin that looks just like any other southern Turkish city, but then the old Mardin, everything is made out of stone and it's very polished. It's very pretty, and there's all sorts of old. There's the madrasa, there's a mosque, there's several, and then you see and hear the different cultural interactions, the different languages. So you can see different like Arabic scripts used. Do you know?
But they speak Turkish, right?
Yeah, everybody speaks Turkish, but on the street, I heard more Kurdish and Arabic spoken.
Oh.
I only really heard Turkish when I had to talk to someone or like in a store or something. Yeah. So I thought that that was really interesting.
So where
and
did you
cool.
stay, Mardin?
I stayed in a konak. Konak is like a hotel but made out of stone.
Cool.
You don't know these?
No.
Shut up.
Oh,
You gotta
bless
stay at a konak. So yeah, I stayed at a beautiful konak, an affordable konak. I paid like $40.
Was that clean?
It was clean. It was clean. There was a bar. Oh, that's probably I'm kind of a wino. My new favorite place in Turkey, not just because it's beautiful and the culture, which I'm obsessed with, like as an anthropologist, but the wine is the best wine in Turkey.
Really?
It's made by the Syriac people, Assyrian descendants. There's also in the south like Armenian wine, because Muslims, it's against your religion to like drink. So the people who really specialized in wine here, well, yeah, were the Christians or the like, and there were some Assyrians that became Christian. I learned while I was on this trip. So yeah, stay at a konak, which in old Mardin, it's cheap. There are some really luxurious ones that I'm not willing to pay for, but the one I was at was perfect. Those they're over $100, even in a small town. I felt like Mardin was expensive to do a tour, because I don't rent a car in Turkey. I don't want to deal with it. I don't even have internet on my phone, so I could. That might be something I could try next time. But yeah, good idea.
Is there next time?
there is a next.
There is still
the
a
next wedding. I will be here. Oh my gosh. So the tour in Mardin then for someone to like drive me to the places was over $100. And just to go to there's monasteries, so like where Christians would go out into the hills and to like be secluded, and they make wine too. Every monastery probably has people making wine and alcohol. it's like a European thing as well. So to go to those places would have been over $100. I talked to the hotel and they said that they would do it for under $100. So I saved like $30 or something.
Bravo.
Yeah, and it was fun. The food there are some traditional foods that I did not get to eat because it's all meat based. Like a stuffed intestine, I think, was one of the specialties.
I don't know.
Mexicans eat intestines, so do you guys have?
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah, most non-American
We have it.
eat like other parts of the animal.
Other parts.
Yeah, not just like the.
You should come to Iran.
Yeah, it's probably like Mexico. We eat like even brain tacos and
We do.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so but the things I did eat were good. The wine was the star of the show, though. So there's one brand in particular that I really loved. It's called Shilu, SHILUH.
Remember, guys.
So if you will find that it's everywhere. I am a solo female traveler. I go by myself to these places. I drank at the hotel. I didn't go. I could have probably tried or had a glass of wine at one of the wine tasting places, wine stores, or bars, but I think that would have been risky. And I did ask the.
Is it dangerous there?
No, but as a woman, you should always be careful. And as a foreign woman, and not even just like for creeps, but for, your money. You don't want them to, like, if you're drinking and then you can get overcharged and not think about it as well. Or somebody could, like, steal something from you. And I have had a laptop computer stolen in Turkey and a bottle of wine most recently. Stolen in Turkey. So, and I've never been stolen from anywhere else in the world. So that's unfortunate. One of the drawbacks of this country. So yeah, really good experience in that place. There's a lot of history. There's so many places within a short distance of Mardin and that's why I paid for this like guys to drive me. And I wouldn't have learned though what I did if I didn't speak Turkish. So that's something to think about. And I'd be happy to help you if you want to go to these places and I can translate for you. But the thing that was really cool, the biggest takeaway for me culturally is because I'm familiar with Turks and Turkish culture and how it's changed. I didn't know that much about Kurdish culture. I knew some of.
So it was new in this.
Yeah, immersion was absolutely new. I have met Kurds, Kurdish people. We have a cheese called Kurds. Yeah, these are also Kurds, but they're not cheese. They're people. Yeah, Kurds, the cheese is delicious. Okay. And yeah, just I don't know if I have seen on or in like news reports or newspaper articles, like Kurds were mentioned because the US was participating, our military, with certain Kurdish militia groups during the war in Syria. So we've had this not long history of supporting Kurds, at least like politically, our government in these like conflicts. And I think that has right now that had caused like some problems with like Turkish opinion about Americans, or at least the American government, because we were supporting these Kurdish organizations that the Turkish government considers terrorist organizations. Yeah. So with all of that kind of, what does that mean? I go into this group, place where predominantly Kurdish and got to know some of these people, and it was really phenomenal. Like, so how I was saying that Turks don't have that sense of hospitality anymore because they're just so stressed out and like don't like worried about their future and if they're going to survive this economic apocalypse and political with their president that's been here for 20 years helping.
Don't get that much into the details.
I won't. Um, yeah, but so Kurds though still have that really misafir like guest hospitality culture like
Mm.
to the max. So before in Turkey, anybody would help me with anything ever.
Mhm.
Now they're not like Turks are not like that. In southeast Turkey though, it was like that. Like
Mhm.
they do want to help you, they do want to know about you, they do want to share like who they are with
Mm.
you. So that was really cool, and they were some of the coolest people that I've ever met.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're very nice. They're
Friendly.
really 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 nice people. I respected so much that they still kept their language
Mm.
in
Yeah, I do
use.
too.
Yeah, because for a while, until very recently, they couldn't even speak their language, like in public, in schools. You can't, they would have to um, go to start school in a public school, not knowing any of this language, not knowing Turkish, the official language of the country, and then I mean, imagine just like
Mm.
starting school in gibberish, right? And yeah, so it has been difficult in that way. And despite that kind of insistence by the state that they assimilate and become like more Turkified, like at least linguistically, they've maintained a
So, what
use of their
is
language.
some places most visited in Mardin that you want to
Yeah,
mention?
so you have to just cruise, walk around old Mardin. It's like being in a different era of
Mm.
existence. Like you feel like you're in history.
Ah,
And
nice.
it does have that very like Middle East desert feel to it. Again, I went in the summer. It was very hot, but it's hot and dry.
No, it's
It's
okay. It's okay.
um yeah, so you do feel like I think that adventurous this part of the world feeling, and like visually it's very aesthetically pleasing, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
The architecture, and it's very true to
So, Old
that
Mardin,
place.
it is.
Old Mardin, you have to be around in Old Mardin. There's the madrasa, there's the I think there's a Protestant church there, but then there's another
Mhm.
building I want to say was a church. So to see the buildings, to go into these places, because the madrasa from outside is whatever, to go in and you can go up and you have an amazing view of Mesopotamia. So that's a place that we don't usually get to go. And if you only go to Istanbul and Cappadocia, you don't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Cappadocia is Anatolia, it's central Turkey. So, also, there's like a bookstore coffee shop that I really
Ah,
liked
nice.
there.
I love bookstore coffee
Yeah, and so
shops.
they had really delicious Kurdish coffee, which is Turkish coffee, but they put milk and a certain kind of seed in it that gives it a different flavor. And it's like the pounded with spices dibek. I don't know how to
I
describe
don't
dibek
know.
I don't even, I just drink it.
I don't know too.
Yeah, so definitely try these things and ask. So I would always, everywhere I go, I ask like, what do they have for breakfast here? What do you Is there like a
Mm.
special drink or dessert or whatever?
Traditional, you mean?
Yes,
Local
yes,
traditional
yes,
things.
because we don't come for cheesecake
Of
like
course, like I said yesterday.
like you guys do. Yeah, so it was cool to see like books in Kurdish for sale where I'm drinking my coffee. I got a Kurdish to Spanish dictionary. So that
Ah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, so if I'm in a pinch, I can find a way to say or understand something. Hopefully. There's a lot of different like dialects of Kurdish.
Mm.
Um so yeah, Mardin outside
Do
of
you
it.
speak Spanish?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. There's driving distance places. I can just put the list in the caption
Mm.
of like where they
Ah,
can
of
go
course.
outside of Mardin. But even if you just spend like a day or two in the town, it's worth it.
Mm.
And each evening, have some wine, have dinner with the people.
Mm.
Totally.
So,
Nicest
how long
people.
did you stay in Mardin?
3 nights, so 4 days total.
So after that, where did you go?
Where did I go after that? After that, I went to this town. It's a city. It's a big city now. It's developed a lot. It's called Şanlıurfa, and the locals, Turkish people, call it Urfa. You've heard of
Urfa.
Urfa, yeah? You're like it's Şanlıurfa.
Yeah, I was like, eh.
Yeah, Urfa. So in Urfa, there's not a lot. I usually when people from there find out that an American has gone there, they're like,
Surprise.
why did you go there? But there are a couple cool things to see in Urfa. There are like churches, so it's still that same part of the country. There are still Kurdish people, but it's more Turkish people, and I didn't really hear Kurdish spoke. I met a Kurd and a half Kurd, but I didn't like they weren't speaking Kurdish or anything. So they're just present. No, I met a lot of Kurds there actually. The konak I stayed at there, and I can put these places names and price. That was cheap too. That was only like $20, so half the price of the one in Mardin. And it was in like those alley type of streets, like old school Urfa. And the people were really nice. It was close walking distance to everything. Um, but yeah, that Konak was or run by Kurds, and one of them was Zaza, which is like another tribe within Kurds. Do you know?
No,
Zaza?
I do not have
And
any
they
information on that.
and they speak a totally
I'm
different
I'm
language.
also learning.
Oh, cool! Yeah. So I had been to Urfa before actually,
Yeah.
so I had already been to like the two tourist things in the town. The food is really really good though. It is worth going to Urfa or stopping in Urfa for the food. It's really spicy. So for Mexicans,
Yeah, like also like in restaurants they have like Urfa kebab, which is a spicy one, and it's
their food's
delicious.
delicious. Their food is delicious. All of southern Turkey, the food is delicious.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it has
100%.
more spice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason I went back to Urfa this time was because this is when it gets nerd alert, but recently in the archaeological community, there's been this bombshell of information when this site called Göbekli Tepe was found in Turkey. So this is evidence, remnants of a civilization that predates Egyptian civilization, that predates, I think, the Assyrians. So it's older than when we thought humans had started practicing things like religion and I won't get into the technicalities as an anthropologist.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, so there's like
so I could be able to understand.
There we go. So there's these like pillars with the animal carvings on it, and
yeah.
There's interpretations that it could be like astrological.
It's just founded recently.
It was just founded, I want to say, a few decades ago, so maybe 30 plus years ago. And so it opened to the public recently before COVID. And unfortunately, I was here during COVID and was not able to go. So now that it's open, I said I'm going for the wedding. I'm finally going to Göbekli Tepe.
Happy for you.
Because I go to archaeological sites everywhere in the world. It's always worth it. Yeah, so you don't just see the superficial reality of like, and we're so, market dominated and everything.
Yeah.
There's always English. There's always Western stuff. There's,
cheesecake.
You come here for cheesecake. We don't. I hope. I mean, maybe there's good cheesecake in.
Yes.
There probably is. Yeah. But yeah, you can see like what was going on before what you're looking at right now. What had been in place and how that has changed, and kind of puts the pieces together. Even if your timeline is off, or it just reminds us of like the fact that change happens. So I think that's hope inspiring.
Good point.
Yeah. And there's also like a energy at these sites is why I really love exploring them. In Mexico, different pyramid sites have like different levels of intensity. The pyramids in Giza, like it's just like, you're just absorbing this really good energy, like you're charging at these places. So it was really cool at Göbekli Tepe. I did some grounding there. I put my feet in the grass. It was a small site though, so I thought I would need the whole day to spend at Göbekli Tepe. You probably only need like an hour. I know, it's small but nice, and there's a shuttle. It's not like other places where you're like really putting an effort to see everything. They've done a good job, and so yeah, that's like a really really important place archaeologically for the whole world. And it's right like 20 minutes outside of Urfa. So if you're in this town, there's a public bus that goes there. You pay $1 and then you're at the site. Yeah, in 20 minutes. from downtown.
So where did you go after?
Oh my gosh! After Urfa, I went to the capital. I went to Ankara. So I actually took a bus to Gaziantep. So this is like Şanlıurfa is called Urfa, Gaziantep is called Antep. So from Antep, I flew to Ankara.
I just
Do you need a break?
no.
Um, Gaziantep, Antep is worth it. They're famous for pistachios.
Ah.
Antep is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have good pistachio
I
in
know.
our country.
So it is.
I'm not looking for pistachio here.
No, but you should have the pistachio baklava. So it is hands down the best baklava in the world in Antep. And just ask the locals where to go to get like the good ones, because it's like every other store sells baklava. Because their pistachios are really good. My favorite thing though was a breakfast pastry. It's called katmer.
I love that.
You have that in Iran?
We had it in like some restaurants, but it's not called like it's not our traditional food. It's for Turkey.
Did you have it here?
Yeah, of
okay.
course.
Okay, yeah. So
we can also order, and it's so available.
Yeah, I love Turkish breakfast, like the 27 different plates of stuff.
It's amazing.
But, yeah. So if you're
Turkish breakfast, like these restaurants that they have, amazing.
Especially if there's a view, or even if there's not a view, just you have a view of.
There are some restaurants like
plates.
in Bebek, even in Istanbul, amazing.
Yeah, you can get good breakfast anywhere in Turkey. Yeah. A traditional Turkish breakfast, which is like vegetables and cheeses and honey and jams and breads and eggs and
everything. Yeah, like practically everything.
I just don't eat the meats. Yeah, it's just a huge variety of stuff, like a continental breakfast, but like on steroids. But yeah, so aside from traditional Turkish breakfast, I really love katmer for breakfast. That's probably like, especially in Antep, was like the highlight of that trip. Yeah, and then so I only went there to fly to Ankara, is the capital. Not.
How was Ankara? I've never been there.
Not worth visiting.
Not worth.
I have a good time when I'm there, and I have a good friend there.
You have friends everywhere.
Yeah, I know a lot of Turkish people. There are good museums.
I'm not into museums.
Yeah, so it's a capital city. I do really love DC, so I'm okay with Ankara. There's
my cousins lives in DC. Hello, cousin.
Yeah, so there's like DC. There's a cool neighborhood that's like fun, but outside of like, would you go to DC just to go to that neighborhood? That's what Ankara is like. There's cool museums, so if you're into that.
Okay, so you kind of skip Ankara.
Yeah, go to the next place. The next place I went to was Cappadocia. So from Ankara, I took a bus for 3 hours to Cappadocia because they're both in central Turkey. Cappadocia is like
cartoon.
Yeah, it's a different reality
so
on our same planet. Yeah, that these rock structures even exist and that they're so prolific and that you can go inside of them, that people have carved houses and there's underground cities.
Is it expensive there?
No. So like everything in Turkey, it's gotten more expensive. There are hotels for like $30 still in Cappadocia.
And they're clean. I care about.
I've stayed at a $30 or probably $20 at the time outside of Cappadocia in the town that you likely take the bus into. It's called Nevşehir, and there's no big airport. Like there's no Cappadocia airport. You have to go to Kayseri, and from there it's no matter what, you're getting to Cappadocia on a bus and you're leaving on a bus unless you rent a car and drive a long way. So again, everything's affordable. Back then, the cheap hotel I stayed in was clean, and it was nice, and they have breakfast.
Okay.
I stayed at a konak this time, and so my room was underground rock, which was a nice escape from the heat. Yeah, because it was like almost cold in there. There was like a jacuzzi in my room,
nice.
And then like 2 showers. It was really too much, and I only paid like $70.
Bravo.
Yeah. And it was walking distance to like the part of town with like tourist shopping stuff, and like I was smiling because there was this restaurant slash bar. So
Mm.
Cappadocia also has really good wine. I don't know if
Oh,
that's something that people know before they go,
I didn't know
because you
that.
see like the hot air balloons. This is another famous thing. If you get up early with the sunrise, there's hot air balloons just like littered across the whole sky. And that's probably the best way to see all of these rock formations, right? Because you could just cruise from neighborhood to neighborhood. You're like, whoa, there's more.
Mm.
So from above, you get like the whole landscape of it. I've never been because I'm afraid of heights. I know.
Ah,
That's not the whole reason. I feel like if it was more affordable, I
how
would be
much
able
is
to get
that?
over my fear. Right now, it's like hundreds of euro. So I was translating for someone, this couple who from Spain, from Spanish to Turkish. The starting price was 300 euro per person. And
Wow.
yeah, and talking to the guy in Turkish,
So
he's
my
like,
the one should be rich.
yeah,
So
yeah, for a 1 hour balloon ride. I think balloon rides are normally expensive,
yeah, I know,
but I feel like
but
that's
I want to
really.
go like to Cappadocia and experience that.
So the guy that I talked to called his friend, and they gave a better price of 200 euro,
Mm.
so which is
Okay.
like 220 something dollars.
How long is that? Like 1 hour?
I think you're only up in the air for like an
Okay.
hour. Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, if you want the
How long
discount,
did you stay
call
in
me.
Cappadocia?
I was only there for 2 nights, but I had been to Cappadocia before. So if it's your first time, stay 3 nights. There are different places to see. There's a few main neighborhood. I don't want to call it neighborhoods. There's a village. There's these two main like town kind of areas. The one I stayed at was called something Hisar. Um, and then the other one's Göreme, which is where the bus stop is.
Mm.
So there is the Nevşehir is the like city, and then Göreme is the town bus stop for Cappadocia, and that's where most like Western people stay. I think it's more expensive, but there are like bars galore. It's like a nightlife type of place. Ultahisar, I think, is where I stayed. It's not like that at all. There's like this huge rock castle or fort or something. So it's still like a really, really cool view, but it's more chill vibes. And
Mm.
that's what I like. So I would have a glass of wine with a view, and like the place was not bustling with English speaking people,
Uh-huh.
which I prefer. I prefer chill crowd or
Yeah,
no
I know.
crowd
I know.
anyway.
I know.
Yeah, so there's like the museum that's out open air. It's literally called the Open Air Museum in Göreme, or outside of Göreme. It's really expensive. It's 20 euro, and it's really small. You could go just like cruise off a beaten path in Cappadocia, and it's huge, and you don't have to pay anything. So I
Oh,
don't
okay.
recommend even going to this open air museum, and it's all churches. So it's
Mm.
all just like somebody painted Jesus or these people on the rocks, and that's why they're charging $20.
Okay, so
So just go
skip
somewhere
that.
else. Yeah. Right across the road from that is the national park. And the national park is my favorite place in Cappadocia.
Ah.
You can walk down. The route I take is really adventurous. Like, you have to be careful, you could slip. But there's like another way
Mm.
entrance that I don't like to take because I like the thrill. And then you're walking for like maybe 1.5 kilometers for like a mile, and then you go through this rock tunnel, and then there's this guy made a coffee shop there,
Ah,
and he has his
nice.
own garden, so like everything is fresh and local, and he'll just make you tea and coffee, and you can sit and
Oh.
talk, and other like travelers come in, and you can, yeah, it's like the most magical coffee shop like I like. The guy at the top had told me, yeah, my friend has a coffee shop there too, and he was telling me the route to take. I was like, no way, there's a coffee shop here. Like, no way. And I'll post the video, but like, it's just the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
And then you keep walking down the path, and you're at this like red cliffs, at the end of the other side of the national park. And it's just so beautiful because all of the rocks in Cappadocia are like that cream color, and these are red.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the red layered rocks, and with the
Mm.
sunset, it's just really pretty. And there's a village there at the end where you
Nice.
can. I took a bus back to my part of town.
Okay, so let's keep it till Cappadocia, and in the next video we will dive into other part of your traveling.
Okay.
Okay, so because we don't want to like make it so long. So
Yeah,
guys,
so those are the basics. Istanbul and Cappadocia with like those other places I went because Urfa was definitely top of the list just because of Göbekli Tepe,
mm,
that archaeological site.
okay, so we will continue in the next video, and yeah, share with us if you had any experiences to Turkey, share some tips for other people that never been there, and we will discuss more and like more exciting topics also.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we will dive into the dating world here also as
the
well.
people, the boys. Yep.
Boys, this is kind of girl chat
Yeah.
in the next videos. Okay, so
Thank you so much, Golsa.
thank you,
This was
baby.
interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Good.
I didn't have this information.
Cool. All right. I hope you
I'm so
learned
happy
something.
I will go there.
Yeah, maybe you can travel. You can leave this part of
Yeah,
Istanbul
I will.
someday.
I will
Yeah.
someday. Okay, guys, because like this is the first video, please like, subscribe, and support her, and like share this video with your friends, family, everyone you know, and like you're like willing to come here and visit Turkey.
Yes.
So
Or
we will
wherever
see
you
you.
are.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid to
yeah,
explore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do not.
Totally.
My son. Okay. So see you in the next video, and bye bye.
Hey.